Hey Joy, how are you? Good to see you after a little while. Story of the life of a lot of my recreational pupils. They don't get to practice or play enough. So yeah, they don't always have something to send to me. But I'm glad that you did. So it'd be nice to maybe sign off perhaps for a little while, or might see you join again, or yeah, just wish you well in the meantime. But yeah, let's get to business. Let's have a look at the first iron swing here that we'll have a look at. Yeah, it looks pretty solid to me. I'm not surprised you're happy with it. I would be. I think if we watch its flow and its momentum, you have a nice steady sort of even pace to the swing. It sort of gradually gets faster, like somebody like a Nelly Corda, somebody like that, and that makes it very repeatable. Just while we're watching you swing, the one of the other pieces of footage, I noticed you hit two shots in about 20 seconds, which is quite quite fast going. And I always kind of warn my pupils that, as long as you're hitting a swing, playing a shot with a purpose, that purpose may be to improve your rhythm, that purpose may be to, make sure you turn properly in the forward swing or something like that. As long as you've got a clear purpose, you can hit as many balls as you like. But the game of golf does not allow you to hit shots that quickly in succession. So you've got to be quite careful not to train yourself to get used to hitting shots really, really quickly and building up a rhythm that way. I mean, it's fine. It proves to you that you can hit good shots. But when you're out on the course, you're going to have space between your swings. You're going to have to move to your next golf shot, put the club back in the bag and move to your next golf shot, and then set up again and get your targeting right and make your club selection and do all the things that normally come with playing golf between. So there's a lot of importance to spacing out your shots and maybe changing club between shots as often as you can, and changing target, because that's what golf asks you to do. So yeah, just checking in the background that that's what's going on. Hopefully you'll be employing some of that and changing club frequently and changing target frequently. If you don't already do that, I would highly recommend it. It will improve your chances of playing well on the golf course. But focusing in on your swing again, let's have a little look. Let's pause you here. You'll be getting tired now. Right. So posture, I think, really, really good. I always like to see your center of gravity is sort of a point that sort of the back of where your armpits finish, vertically above your knees. Now the camera, I think, is a little bit sort of looking at you from this direction. Don't worry about those angles. That's just what the software does. So just to give you an idea of what I'm explaining is that maybe the camera's just a little bit more to the right of you as we look than would be ideal, but it's not bad. So yeah, I generally like to see that your center of gravity is inside your base, which it just about is. I think your arms, you could have a little bit more forward bend and a little bit more knee bend. I think what's interesting is your legs are fairly straight when you start your iron shot, and then we see quite a lot of knee bend, particularly in your left knee, and your right knee gets quite straight. Now we haven't got any in front footage, but what's significant is that you lose a little bit of height in your backswing. Now that doesn't have to be death, and we'll see whether you recover that height in the forward swing. Not much, but we know this one's clean. You hit that one cleanly and off it goes. So what that suggests to me is we may be losing a little bit of height in your sternum, sort of in this area. This is your center of mass, your center of gravity. That point in your body moves slightly downwards and slightly forwards, but not much. And then when we rotate, you hold your height pretty well. Your head moves downwards and forwards. So that's giving the illusion that you're probably losing more height than you are. So you're not doing too badly there. Don't like to see the center of mass. Excuse me. I don't like to see the center of mass move downwards towards the floor. Towards the floor. There we go. It was meant to be an arrow. There we go. Towards the floor too much, because in response in your forward swing, it will have to move back up again. All right. Which is a moving part we can do without. So I wouldn't panic too much. It's great to see some left leg here. It's great to see some left glute here. All right. When you're opening your body. But as a big point I'm going to make later on is that we get quite a lot of right arm extension. Not as bad in your iron swing. If we were looking at the exact nature of your right arm, you can see there is some flexion in that right arm, which is a good sign, which is one of the reasons you'll be enjoying the way you're hitting your irons. So that flexion is a sign that your arm and your body are working together. So the body's turning, which we know, and the right arm is working together. Timing is important with this one. Again, I'll explain a little bit more as we go along. But excuse me, a little frog in my throat. But really, really decent impact conditions there. You've got reasons to be proud of that. Now, you were saying about your follow-through being a little bit short. Now, on this particular swing, the follow-through, whoopsie, I'll just remove some of the lines. On this particular swing, your follow-through isn't particularly short. Now, I can't see any physical reason. Sometimes when people's left elbow pops out behind them at this point, you've got loads of rotation in your lower body. Your footwork and your leg work is working really quite well here. In a perfect world, your right knee might move a little bit more towards the target rather than outwards in this direction. Okay. But it's not a perfect world, so I'm going to suggest that we don't go too hard on you on that one. But you'd kind of like to see the sole of your right shoe a little bit more visible at this point. And I'll put somebody on the screen next to you right now. This is a long drive champion lady golfer called Cassandra Mayer. And I'll put a few others besides as well when I'm speaking. That'll give me time to put some other options there. But you can see how well you compare to other lady golfers who have good rotation in their forward swing. Now, some you can see the bottom of their right foot, the spikes on their right foot a little bit more easily, suggesting that right leg has engaged in rotating rather than just sort of moving out towards the ball. It's moved to your right knee's moved towards the target that way rather than towards the ball that way. Okay, so that's a small thing, but I think it might well help with your rotation. Just be careful, this left foot has enough flare. You flare it outwards to start with. That makes it easy for your body to turn into the follow-through. You can see the way some pressure on your ankle, knee and hip gets absorbed there. Your left foot flares out a little bit more, works out that way. Flares out a little bit more, which my arrows are terrible today. But yeah, that's really, really important to the anatomy. It's some people are flexible enough to keep their left foot exactly where it is. They're very, very few, and it's very, very rare these days. It's much more well understood by people who know stuff about the anatomy. It's understood that left foot needs to flare out a little bit. But yeah, just watch out you don't flex your left knee too much in the backswing. That means you get a tiny bit of overswing. It's not terrible, I have to say. And I wouldn't rush to change it immediately. Okay, Joey, right, we're going to move on to the driver swing. Have a look at that now. And again, quite upright, your body position. Okay, so, standing quite tall, legs quite straight, body quite upright. I'd like to see your spine on a little bit more of this kind of angle and a bit more what you might call forward bend with your chest facing down a little bit more. How bad is this software for drawing arrows? There we go. I've got to get out of my arrow habit. That little bit more forward bend will put a little bit more flex in your knees, most probably. And or certainly to begin with, you'll feel your legs actually get straighter as you bend more forwards. And I want you to counteract that with a little bit more flex in your knees. So I want your kneecaps a little bit more out, sort of above where your toes are. And that will just improve your mobility in your lower body without you having to compromise your center of gravity. So I hope that makes sense, but that's the shortest way to explain it. If your legs are too straight, you'll find it difficult to mobilize your rotation, and rotation is crucial in this game. We know that. And if your legs are too straight, you'll struggle with rotation. If your legs are too flexed also, if you've got too much knee flex, you'll also reduce rotation, which is not what we want. And if your stance is too wide or too narrow, you'll reduce rotation or the capacity for rotation. So we don't want too wide or too narrow stance. Your stance width from this angle, I haven't got any front-on footage from you, but your stance width from this angle looks absolutely fine. All right, but we can see your arms aren't quite so much, aren't quite so much hanging down from your shoulders now. That would put them very close to your body. So you're having to push your hands away from your body because you haven't quite got enough forward bend in your body. You'll see that pretty much universally in players who maybe are able to get a little bit more rotation and hit the ball a little bit better. So what we see, I think certainly halfway back, your left arm, the shaft point towards the target, which is great because I remember the days when you used to not be so good at that. But the club moves a little around your body because your spine is on quite a vertical angle. If you're on a different angle, I think we would see a little bit more space between your left arm. Your left arm would be a little bit further away from your body, and that would help with timing and with width. But there's no swing we can make that doesn't involve timing in some way, shape, or form. So it's always important for a golfer to keep on top of their swing. But you can see that little bit of a sense that we sort of lean and create more forward bend as a result of activating our legs from a position where we were probably a little bit stilted in our legs. Our legs are a bit stiff. This is great though. I mean, loads of width, left arm at its full length, forearms staying quite close together, and the angle of the club face is very similar to your left arm. So that's really, really good. Can't complain too much there. A lot of good things going on. All right. But yeah, just watch out for excessive turn, if you like, or straightness in the right leg and a lot of flexion in the left leg. Just it depends who I'm talking to as to whether you want to feel that feeling or you want to reduce that feeling. I would say maybe you could quieten that down a little bit and just keep this right knee a little bit more quiet in the backswing, and that will help keep your left knee a little bit more quiet as well. So we start forwards. Whoopsie, sorry, there we go. We start the change of direction. Everything moves pretty much together. But we can see here, your rotation almost stalls a little bit. And the big criticism really is that that's forcing your arms to reach out towards the ball. And you can see how much more, at the moment of impact, how much straighter that right arm is and how much more distance there is between your elbow and your hip at this point. So your arms have raced past your body. You may be trying to get extra club speed by making your arms move faster, but you'd be doing yourself more of a favour by rotating your body better and trying to feel like that elbow and hip are more closely connected. And you can see in those images, and I'll put them back on the screen again, you can see in those images that the right elbow and right hip relationship is very strong in most players. And you can do drills where you keep your right elbow a little bit more connected to your right side by putting a towel under your right arm or something like that, putting a head cover under your right arm, your upper right arm, and just making follow-throughs, trying to feel like the body rotates rather than the arms swing the club. Now, I think instinctively what you were saying about your follow-through being a little bit short and cut off, it might have something to do with the fact that in this situation, certainly in this swing, the rate of closure, the club is closing fast. And if it gets too close, you'll hit low shots off to the left, and they might even hook to the left, but they won't fly very well. The ball speed might go up because when you've got a straighter face, the ball speed always increases. But if the ball doesn't fly properly, it's pretty pointless. Now, it doesn't look like you've got anything terrible going on with your left elbow here, but I'm going to include a link to a video on Patreon, which you might have to, I don't know whether you downgraded to the sort of less expensive, to the £5 per month version where you can get access to just the instructional videos. That would be helpful because I can send a link, I'll send you a link anyway, just in case you've done that, to a video about how to use your left forearm in the swing. And when your swing stops a little abruptly, it's either because the left arm is moving in the wrong way and there's too much tension and stiffness in and around your shoulders and left arm, or it's your instinctive reaction to trying to reverse the rate of closure of the club, where the club would close too much, so to hold the face open. Now, you can see in this next shot, which I was commenting earlier in this video, that you hit another shot really quite quickly after the previous one. You can see in this next shot, this ball launches much higher than the previous one. That's a sign that the face is more open and the follow through is still not that long, but that's the effect of perhaps you trying to slow down when the arms go past the body quickly. The after effect, your reaction, is to try to slow the arms, but it's a bit too late. So stopping the follow through is a reaction to the arms racing past you too quickly. So what you want to do is you want to work on your timing, the feeling that your arms are catching up to your body at the absolute last moment, and you're hitting the ball very much on your right, which I still think you could go further with. You can see your chest is sort of looks like it's facing towards the ball and your arms are in front of you. We want to feel like your arms are on the right hand side of your body when you hit, and there's a couple of images next to you right now that demonstrate that. All right, there we go. There's your review. There's enough for now. I'm sure you could got plenty to work on there, and you can watch the video back at your leisure and pick the bones out of it and pick the cherries out of it and chase the particular elements that that will help you there. So all of those things will help you move in the right direction. And obviously, I wish you all the best for your golf going forwards. And yeah, don't be afraid to sign up for the entry level bundle so you can still watch the instructional videos when they come out. I usually release one every week or every couple of weeks. But yeah, there's obviously loads on there that's still relevant. And yeah, you know, we can you can check in with me and pay for a one-off analysis rather than necessarily paying monthly if we don't get to use those. All right. See you soon, Joy. Take care.